at Minnesota. This was our first pregame, and I guess still the preseason, but more importantly, pregame media availability with Ryan Day and a handful of players today at the Woody Hayes Athletic Complex. We didn't get a lot of hard news today. One of the things I did take away, though, was I think we're pretty sure what offensive line is lining up on Thursday for this opener. And Ryan Day said that Thayer Munford, who has been kind of in and out of practice a little bit, is going to be available for Thursday. Nicholas Petit-Frere said that he expects to start at left tackle. So I think that tells us Petit-Frere at left tackle, Munford at left guard, Harry Miller at center, Paris Johnson at right guard, and DeJuan Jones at right tackle, which was what they had kind of shifted to early in the preseason. So, Steven, just kind of your thoughts on that finally coming together in a real official way and what you think it means for this offense.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it because I get it. You want it in the name of getting the 5 best guys on the field, whatever match that makes. I guess this is what you get to, especially when one of the guys has to be outside because he's 7 feet tall and probably should be playing basketball somewhere. So that's what it is. It just creates you've got a large line behind a bunch of small guys who are trying to run behind it. You got Master Teague, who's more of a bigger back. And you've got Mayan Williams, who's basically, he doesn't want to be called meatball anymore. He wants to be called chop, I think is what it is at this point. And you've got Travion Henderson from a physical standpoint is somewhere in between, which kind of mirrors what Minnesota does. Big line, small back, let's see what happens. And so from that standpoint, when you've got a young quarterback, first-year starting quarterback, but then you've also got this depth of running backs that you have. Maybe you just go with the 5 biggest guys you have, who are also the biggest guys on your roster at that point. So it just comes down to, do you believe that DeJuan Jones has actually taken the jump that Greg Stradrawa kind of raved about when we got to talk to him a couple of weeks ago?
So then, do you doubt that? Is that why you say you don't love it?
I don't love it because it's 4 tackles are your best for your best 5 linemen, and that says something about where your interior lineman play is right now. I think I'd have been pretty happy if Thayer Munford was just a left tackle and Nicholas Petit-Frere was a right tackle again, had somebody claim that job. But it gives me a little bit of worry about what the depth is behind those guys if the interior guys that you think should be starters are getting beat out by tackles.
I think if those are the best 5 offensive linemen, then it doesn't really matter what you call them in some ways. Doug, do you like this offensive line, and what are your thoughts about what it can mean for this offense?
Well, you're taking 2 sure things at tackle, and you're adding uncertainty at tackle. So it's just a matter of, would you rather have the uncertainty at tackle? If you have 4 guys you're sure are going to start, right? Paris Johnson, Harry Miller, Thayer Munford, and Nicholas Petit-Frere are going to start. Would you rather have the uncertainty at tackle or at guard? And at tackle, you can help a little more. On the inside, you can probably help a little less. But if Boye Mafe and Kayvon Thibodeau get lined up over DeJuan Jones every snap, because if you're Minnesota and Oregon, why wouldn't you line those guys up? Who cares where they normally are? I mean, NFL teams do that much more now. It's like you don't have an end. You find the matchup of where you think your end can take advantage of a guy. So Kayvon Thibodeau, 50 snaps against DeJuan Jones in week 2, I'm curious, and I'm not 100% sure. So you took a strength. You took a sure thing that we talked all offseason. We thought they might have had 2 of the, maybe the 2 best, the best tackle pairing in the country. And I don't know. Now, they said DeJuan Jones earned it with his play. I don't disbelieve that. But with a young quarterback, it adds a question that I did not think we would have about this offense going into this season. They've created a question. They've solved some other things. They've also created a little bit of a question, but DeJuan Jones is a great athlete. We'll see what he can do.
Well, I think more to your point, though, they've just shifted the question. There was always going to be a question as to whether the left guard also was up to snuff, and I think that's what the question, in my mind, I guess, uncertainty is relative. And uncertainty to us, because we've seen much less than them, is different than what how the coaching staff would be looking at this. And it's one of those situations where you almost, like you say, you have to kind of take them at their word. This is what the preseason led them to, sort of organically. This is where the position battles led them, and that's what we're going to see on Thursday. I'm actually pretty intrigued by it, just because I think it's interesting to think about the 5 best offensive linemen being out there, even though 4 of them are supposed to be tackles or have traditionally been tackles, and what that could mean for this offense. But I think Steven makes a decent point that if there was a question as to whether or not your second-string guy was really good enough to play first string on the interior, what the ramifications are when you inevitably do encounter probably some injuries or some other problems. So something to keep an eye on and something we're going to continue to follow, something we'll be texting about. 614-350-3315. Sign up now, and that will take you through the season opener and through the second week with a 2-week free trial.